Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
There we go. We are officially recording in progress. And we're back. Jacine was just telling us she's in California. Aren't y'all just a little bit jealous? I'm just a little bit jealous.
Hello.
In her warm, see the beautiful breeze on her hair.
I see your hair doing this, and I just think, oh, warm
Yeah.
ocean breeze.
So great. And how are things in Virginia?
But you can tell.
Are they
Oh,
cold?
go ahead, JC.
Oh, go ahead, Jacine.
Oh, I just said the breeze is a little chilly. You can tell because I've got a sweater on. So yeah.
Well, my
There
breeze
you go.
frigid, so I would take your chilly breeze over my frigid breeze. That's what tells you what's going on in Virginia right now. So.
Cold in Virginia. And just kind of cold and wet in Texas. It's been in the 20s, like 22, which is really cold for us at night. Yeah. it's been
That's
really cold.
crazy. Wow.
Unusually cold. But the happy news is there won't be any more bugs and all the snakes will have gone into hibernation. So I'll take it.
Perfect.
That is great
So,
news. The
Just a
snakes and the
question.
spiders.
Yes. Last week, we talked about going wandering, having a little wander time every day for 10 minutes so that we could practice our awareness. How did that go for y'all?
You can't tell me twice to go wandering. I'll do it. So, yeah. I'm one of those, like, I go join the circus when it's in town, that type of thing. So it was, I loved it. And I actually took little pictures of the areas I was in. Like, I found the mossy rock. I found the last little like maple leaf that was still kind of red and everything. It was just, I don't know, I loved it. I had a good time.
It's beautiful. I know for me, when I was walking, I found more sky. I just spent more time looking up through the colors of the leaves, because we still have quite a bit of color, and looking up to the clouds. And just, it's interesting, when I looked up, I could feel more grounded. It was like I sank into the earth more, and I would come in and my alarm would go off in 10 minutes and I would come inside reluctantly because I could have very easily stayed out longer. It was really good for me. Yeah, it was
nice.
Good.
I found that when I was doing mine, because we don't have leaves and I'm in a new area. So it's like, I was actually seeing more things. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to come back in the spring. It's like, so I was able to, plan future wanderings, which is so hard.
It was really hard for me to get out the door, though. I had to really convince myself to leave the house to go out. But once I was out, I was like, 10 minutes already? I have to go back. So once I made myself go out. Yeah, I don't want to go in yet. Don't call me in. But it was cool. Jacine, did you have any?
That's so nice. I didn't. So right after so we do this on Mondays, the Tuesday afterwards, we had freezing fog that stuck to everything. I mean, it was gorgeous, but walking around, everything was slick and frozen, and it stayed that way. It had warmed up just enough for our plane to get out on Friday. But
well, that's a blessing.
Yeah. My wandering consisted of wandering carefully out to the barn to feed the horses. But I was more aware just of that's because I was aware of the wandering. And so I thought, well, on my way out to the barn, what can I see? And it was, just the beauty that's all around in the winter. And you've got the frozen icicles or the freezing fog on things like the spider web, this huge spider web that was, just covered in the freezing fog, and it was just sparkly, and, everything was just this winter wonderland. It was actually gorgeous. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, we have somebody to talk about this week in Inner Critic. Her first name is Stephanie. And she is Stephanie the Storyteller. And she is my favorite inner critic because she has a wild imagination. So do you guys have experience with your inner storyteller? Do you have one with a wild imagination? Can she really get going?
Oh, she catastrophizes all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's really good at that. Mine is a vivid imagination. It is true. She's great. Yep. One thing that I love to tell myself, though, when she gets going, because she is incredibly talented, is that even though she's a storyteller, she's not a fortune teller, right? She can't see the future and she can't tell the future. She doesn't have any predictive power whatsoever. But sometimes it's hard to recognize that when she gets going with her stories. Do you have experience with that?
Yeah, I think like with my Stephanie the Storyteller, she is really good friends with Flora, and Flora feeds her facts, because Flora's all about the facts, right?
Right. Yeah. Build the case, Flora the Floyer. Yeah.
Yep. And she'll remind Stephanie about the facts. And so Stephanie takes those facts and she creates just incredible stories that predict the future. Yeah. It's like, yeah, guess what? You don't get to know that. But yeah.
But she has that vivid imagination and she can really take off with telling stories. I mean, when you think about it, she's just trying to protect you, right? She's had some kind of scary experience in the past. And so she kind of is leaning into where she was at that time and that scary thing that happened. And so she keeps a catalog of that. But even though she's a great storyteller, she can't predict. What were you going to say, JC?
But as you're talking, the other thing that I really love about her is that she can be easily swayed to flip the story to a really good story.
Oh,
it doesn't take much to have her to do the flip job on her, because she's like, oh, well, I kind of like that way much better than this way that Flora was, leading me to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to be able to realize that because she is so gifted in her imagination and her stories, that we actually have the power to help sway her to the other side.
Yeah, just a little
bit
of
really
tweaking.
Cool stories.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of harnessing her energy and flipping it so that she can spin you a tale of hope and a tale of excitement and a tale of potential. Yeah, and then life looks really good. I love that. Huh. Gonna catalog that one. Check that box. That's good. Yeah, well, since her stories aren't predictive, what do you do besides flip for her? She's not a fortune teller. She's a really talented storyteller. But what kind of things do you guys do when she gets going? Obviously, flipping her story is genius. Yeah.
I always ask her.
Oh, go ahead. You ask her.
Well, I always ask her, is this your story? Or is this a story somebody has told you you're starting to believe?
Oh, I love that. Is this a story you saw in a television drama?
Or even from your family of origin, or even from your times in college when you're on your own, or when you first got married, whatever period of your life. Is this your story? Is this yours? Or is this a story somebody told you? Because I do have a lot of stories in my head from my mom. because she was the person I looked to learn and to grow from. And some of her stories became my stories. And some of those are good stories, and some of those are not so good in the self of serving me stories.
Right.
So yeah, I always ask, is this yours? Because if it's yours, let's own it and do something about it. And if it's not yours, then let's get rid of it. Let's have a different story. Kind of like Stacey was saying, let's rewrite it.
Yeah. There is so much power in just recognizing, is this your story? Yeah. Because I think we all have a lot of things what we modeled ourselves after with our parents. And so just that one question is powerful.
Yeah. It could be a coach. It could be somebody you look up to, in any type of a teacher or somebody, anybody that's kind of in your molding, you know, that you molded from. You just have to ask.
A big sister voice. But what if this? You know? Yeah. It's just somebody you respect. I could totally see that. Yeah. But you can remind Stephanie after you've asked her, you know, whose story is this, that right now is where we are. Right now, I have my electric blanket, y'all, right here. And I am warm and I am well fed and I am comfortable and there is no ice or snow in my house. And I can remind Stephanie that right now, all of my needs are met, including my warm blanket. It's wonderful. And that in itself is tremendously comforting to her, just to bring her into the present with us and bring ourselves into the present, right? Yeah. It's an amazing thing.
There's one thing I do that you brought to my awareness is why don't you just challenge her and ask her, well, what if it's not going to be that way? What if it does work out?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it stumps her and she's like, well, wait a minute. You're supposed to buy my story, hook, line, and sinker, you know?
What are you challenging me for? That's right. This is true.
Talking about, we are going to be living under a bridge. Come on, you know?
But to quote Aubrey, just don't build the bridge, right? We're not going to live under a bridge if you don't build a bridge. It's fine.
We don't own a bridge. So where are we, you know, just change the story on it.
Yeah. Where's that story coming from, Stephanie? I don't know. Yeah. Well, let's just talk about some ways that we can, when we recognize we're spiraling, some ways that maybe we can check that spiral. Jacine brought it up with flip the story, but what if it's not? And you brought up with challenge, but what if you're really spiraling and you're not even to the point of being able to ask the question? What do you do then? I know for me, this is something that I learned with Bright Line Eating. You practice the pause. It's something that we're taught every single day when we have an accountability call. They'll say, practice the pause. And that involves just stopping what you're doing and taking a breath and listening to what's going on around you and then feeling where you're supported. You know, I love to feel the support of the earth beneath me or of the chair if I'm sitting, and to be able to come in tune with my breath. That really will just stop any kind of inner spiral for me and allow me to come forward, to be able to, like Jen, you were saying, like, be curious or to challenge, or Jacine, like even to flip the story. But for me, when I'm spinning, the first thing I have to do is practice that pause. Yeah. You had something, Jen?
No, I was doing this with my glasses, but I think you have to have that pause so that you can do those other things like flip the script or challenge it. You have to have that pause so the energy has been stopped on that thought or on that. So you can look at it and say, okay, what's going on? But pause is absolutely important.
That pause and that breath. You honestly, when you are in that spiral, the oxygen to your brain is actually truly, right? Is squishing out, and you are not getting the oxygen to your brain that you need to have the clarity. And it honestly is physiologically necessary to take just a really deep 1, 2, or 3 cleansing breaths to just change that pattern. You have to interrupt the pattern. And just in chiropractic, we teach that so much with people who have negative feelings towards the treatment that's going on, or their therapeutic exercises, or anything that they're doing. It's that importance of taking the breath and getting the oxygen back in the brain. Just got to. And then my second thing is, what does truth feel like? because I know what truth feels like. I know what for me, it's a feeling, and I know what it feels like. And so once I get the oxygen in my brain, I can say, okay, what does truth feel like? Does this feel true? All right.
What does truth feel like to you?
For me, truth, and sometimes truth isn't very pretty. It really isn't. Sometimes
Yeah.
truth is kind of ugly.
Sometimes it's hard.
And
Mhm.
and it's hard. And that's something that years ago I really wanted to be a truth seeker. And so seeking truth, it is a practice. And for me, it feels like clarity. It feels like I can't always say that it's peaceful, because sometimes the truth, like, it is hard and it's not peaceful, but I just, the word just is clarity. It's just clear, and it's not muddy, and it's not foggy. It just, this is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, for me, truth feels grounded and it feels still. Even if it's not pretty, it still feels grounded and still. It's a physical feeling for me. A lot of times I feel more solid in what I'm doing when I feel truth. Yeah. What about for you, Jen? What's truth feel like for you?
A lot of it is just the knowing, the clarity, like what
Clarity.
JC was
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, just and there's just like a solidness. There's this understanding and like firmness
Yeah.
of it,
A
grounding
firmness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
I do want to point out that sometimes when I have that spiral, it's almost like I've totally hit the panic button. My body has taken over. I'm in
It's
fight or
gone.
flight. I mean,
Yeah,
that's like,
Yeah.
I learned a trick from one of Brene Brown's little it wasn't a book. I don't think it's in one of her books. I can't remember, but it was one of her talks. That because we have gone into lizard brain, we've gone into fight or flight. So our instincts have taken over, and we have no rational thought. The frontal cortex is totally offline in our brain.
Yep.
She'll tap her brain like this.
That's a
Hello.
great idea. Interrupt the pattern.
And it actually brings awareness, and she'll come back online. And so there's been times I've been like, get me out of that fight or flight. I can then find the truth and find the clarity, so that my nervous system can calm the freak out, and I can start to have that centeredness. So it really kind of depends on what type of like spiral I'm in. Sometimes I can talk myself out of it. Sometimes, because you're talking about breathing and things like that, all that stuff does is reset that nervous system. So sometimes I have to pull out the big guns, and I can't talk myself out of it. I have to
Stop.
Yeah. I love that. Well, one of the things, let's talk a little bit about storytelling when we're with other people, not necessarily an inner critic, but in a group setting. Maybe we're talking with a husband or a friend or a confidant. When they're going, and this often helps me because it'll help me to apply it to myself. When they're going off the deep end with a spiral, what do I do for them? So one of the things that I'll do with somebody when when they're spiraling is face to face, right? Just face to face, look in my eyes. I've done it with kids. Hold my face, hold my face, look in my eyes. You can do that kind of thing for yourself. You're checking in, right? Checking in deeply with them.
Oh,
and you can check in deeply. Yeah. Hold my face, hold my face.
Yes. Good.
That is so interesting you say that, because this is actually a vagus reset.
Well, there you go. No wonder it feels good.
It's a vagus reset.
Yeah, it does. It feels really good.
Yeah.
Well, like sometimes, have you guys ever done that? What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Oh
right?
My gosh.
Oh, how
or in serious distress, people will completely cover their face, and you've got that on your cheeks the same way. Yeah. So, okay. So we're checking in face to face. And then other questions that we might ask a friend. Do I understand correctly that? Can you imagine talking to Stephanie, the storyteller? Do I understand correctly that you're afraid we're going to die under a bridge? she's going to say, yeah, right. But that's going to stop the tirade, right? Or, wow, that sounds scary. That sounds devastating. That sounds, wow, that sounds rough. Those kind of things, if we say those to ourselves, like we would say that to a friend, that will really help stop the spiral too, because it calms us down. It just really helps. Asking questions. So one of the things that I love to do, and I think we talked about this before with my inner critic, is ask them how old they are. And then ask them how old they think I am. And generally, they think they're considerably older than I am. And so we'll talk a little bit about that back and forth. And that makes a big difference. The last thing that I found
you're
really,
that old.
Yeah, really, you're so old.
You're
the
old.
last thing that I
Wow.
find really helpful, when you're doing that, wow, that sounds hard, or do I understand correctly? That is, thank you. Thank you so much for caring about us. Thank you so much for your protection. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you to an inner critic is huge. And it really does calm things. Yeah. Have you had experience with that, Jen?
Oh, all the time.
Michelle.
You pointed out some really good points. Yeah, you validate their experience that they're having with you. You validate, let them know, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. And by clarifying, having them clarify, that's sending that message too. But it also brings their issue right into the forefront, so they can't create any more drama with you. It's like,
it stops it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I understand clearly that we're going to die under a bridge? You think we're going to die under a bridge? And they're like, yes. And you'll be like, okay. And then you can bring, like, you're saying the evidence towards them of why you're not going to. And that's like part of, I think, the coaching part of it. And my little trick is I will either bring out a vision book, a scrapbook, a journal, or my phone, and let them flip through everything with me to see how much we're not that age and how much we do know, so that kind of educates them and lets them understand that really I have more information and training, understanding to help us with this issue. So that's how I usually work with them.
That is awesome. Yeah. Well, then she can tell happy stories.
Yeah. And ask, what do you want? How do you want to feel? What do you want to believe? Sometimes they're like, I want to believe this, and there's nothing you can do to change it. And you're like, all righty, we'll try next time, Can't force anything.
I love this discussion, because as I'm sitting here with Thanksgiving just a few days away, and so many people having guests for Thanksgiving, you might have our Aunt Martha, who is that storyteller, right? And then Aunt or Uncle Cy, who's the who's the grumpy old guy, who's the critic of the group. And, just using the skills that you guys were just now talking about, to just with Uncle Cy, when he starts getting really critical with Aunt Flossie, we're just gonna, wow,
that sounds really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just what great tools. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, well, it really makes a difference. One of my son-in-laws uses the word wow quite a bit, and it is so powerful, because people will get going, or even if one of the kids get going, and they're just all upset because something terrible has happened, and he'll go, wow, and he's fully focused on them. And immediately that validation and that full focus, all of a sudden you've got peace between two people. They feel heard, just like you said, Jen. Yeah.
I think that's a lot of what we want. We just want to be heard and validated. Sometimes I don't even want my problem solved, because I know in myself it's not solvable. I just want to be heard.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
So going back to Thanksgiving, let's play with a little bit of what we've learned, because we've got that this week, and we've got Christmas coming up, lots of family events and lots of events with other people. So do I understand correctly that? Wow, that sounds. And then there's focus on the things you have in common. That is wonderful at diffusing. You can use it with your inner critic. yes, we both are going to see Aunt Martha, the critic. Yes, we're okay. Or what would you do like with the grumpy aunt or the grumpy uncle? How would you use focus on things you have in common in that case? Any ideas? Maybe picturing things from their perspective even.
I don't know why I have in my head, but I just think a lot of times when people are just grumpy and curmudgeonic and they just want to be loved.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, just I don't know, love on them, I guess, even if it can't be something that can be an action, just sending them some love vibes or whatever. Yeah. But I think
hey,
go ahead.
Can I bring you your favorite drink? You know, what can I get you? Right?
Oh, look, it looks like your drink is empty. Let me refill that for you. Yeah.
Yes, here.
Or even just like a pat or just something, let them know that they're seen or something. Who knows? I mean, because it's going to be different with everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And appreciation. So glad you're here. It is just so good to see you. You look good, like your shirt, yada, yada. Yeah, just to bring peace to that situation. What about any tips or tricks on staying confident and centered as we go through not Halloween, as we go through Thanksgiving this week? Don't even start me on all the Halloween. But as we go through Thanksgiving with family, ways to stay confident and feel grounded as we move forward.
Put on a Teflon suit.
Okay.
Ooh, good idea.
So the imagery of a Teflon suit is a good one. A totally nonstick.
Yeah, just let it slide off you, because you want connection, and you want to be with these people, but you don't want it to stick to you. You don't want it to stick. The past.
I love that.
What if you don't want to be with those people?
Still double up on the Teflon. No,
okay,
I totally
don't want to focus on the things you have in common. Okay, you have common family, you have common ancestry, you have common foods that you'll be eating, you have common world events that you can talk about. Focus on what you have in common. And every time something's brought up that's not something that you have in common, use your Teflon suit and just let it roll off.
Let it slide.
Yeah. Well, you can have appreciation for someone's candor. They may be voicing something that you don't agree with, but you can appreciate their candor. You can appreciate their time. You can appreciate their commitment. You can come up with something that you admire about them otherwise, right? So you can have appreciation even with differences.
I think you're bringing up a very important part about it, Beth, because what you focus on is what you're going to see and also what you're going to give your energy to.
Yes.
A lot of times, because I'm thinking about my own situations, and usually it'll be just one or two people in the big event that I think
there's 6 other people that you love.
Exactly. So you focus on those other things, and by doing that, then they don't affect you as much. I mean, they're still going to have their issues and things like that, but if you're constantly like hyper aware of them, then your experience is just going to be that.
Right.
And
but you focus on taking and stepping out of that over and over again. I'm digging the
and we don't get to choose. I love that. And we don't get to choose. We don't get to choose their reaction, right? We can choose we are the ones who get to create the words we say. We are the ones that get to create the kindness. We are the ones that get to create this, but we don't get to choose how they respond to it. We don't get to choose what they say, what they do. And I love this. I was taught this a long time ago, and it's just a reminder, just for me, it's just a reminder of going in when I know I'm going to be around somebody that's challenging to be around. And it's just shield up. I'm putting my shield on. Shield up. I've got my barrier all around me, right? My Star Wars, whatever.
And only good comes in through that shield. Yes.
And I seriously say a few things like, may the force be with you. It's just like, these
right?
that you're going into some type of like battle situation, and you just need all the help you can get. Yeah.
It's so true.
Well, because
And
we all have
prayer is
family.
never a bad thing.
No, we all have family in one form or another. They may not be functional family. They may not be Hallmark family. They really may not be Disney family, but we all have that in common, and so we can be grateful for the commonalities that we have and serve, like you said, can I get you a drink? Or creating things, that would benefit the situation. We can be the creators. We can act on it. And what I find is when I step into that role, then I feel confident.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one steering the ship. I'm not the one that's just at every whim. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
knowing that you have the choice. I like that.
Yeah.
You are
Knowing
in control.
that you have the choice. That, my friend, is called the creator-based way. Knowing that you have the choice. It's the creator-based way. Yeah. We just love that. So Jacine, let's talk about what's coming up. Because I understand we're finishing Sacred Rest this week in book club.
We are finishing Sacred Rest this week, and it has been amazing. Some just powerful, incredible discussions and insights that everybody shares. So our next book is The Power of Ted. And there it is.
Jen's got hers.
Thank you. Yes. And it's in story form. So guys, it's going to be a little bit easier to read than information. So we just thought we'd do that for December and be able to have some really powerful, insightful. And Jen, I'm trying to remember the word you used for The Power of Ted last time.
I know. And I was like, oh, maybe I scared everybody because I said, because Jason said, oh, this is going to be an easy, good read. And I was like, you're going down the rabbit hole because you're going to,
the rabbit hole.
Mind is going to go, what? And you're going to all of a sudden see, yes. And so it's a small book, but the information and everything is just like, holy cow. So yeah, it's a good rabbit hole to go down.
So excited. Yeah. So we're doing Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole. Yeah.
It's a really, really good rabbit hole. And it's one that after you've read the book, you'll go back month after month after month and continue to apply it. It is a really profound book. It's going to be great.
Love it.
Yeah. And then the 2nd of December, we've got the Jumpstart Workshop. Jen, you want to talk about that?
Yes.
That's coming up like in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. It's going to be
Saturday.
It's going to be an introductory to EFT, emotional freedom technique. Is that the technique is what it is? And it's about tapping out negativity, energies, stuff out of your body. It helps release actually trauma from the somatic, the body. And it's powerful. And it helps calm down. And so like around the holidays, you could be tapping it out so you don't lose your crap, so to speak.
Yeah, it is wonderful. Gary Craig is the inventor of emotional freedom technique. And when he started it, all of his testing was done in vet hospitals. He tested he did because they found that it was an incredible cure for PTSD. So if y'all have PTSD with family stuff, I mean, if it can work on vets for PTSD, it can work on family stuff for PTSD. Yeah, it is an amazing, amazing technique for calming and helping you to release old, unpleasant memories and old traumas. It's pretty great. Yeah, so that's on a Saturday morning. That is a Sloth Saturday event. So come in your pajamas and we're just going to chill together. That'll be good. And then we have Monday Mastermind coming up again. And then we have Coach and Clear coming up again. So it'll be another good week. But first, let's eat some turkey and have Thanksgiving. It'll be good.
Yes. And be grateful. That's the other thing, that gratitude, because I've been in that mindset also this week where I didn't have a whole lot of experiences with any of my inner critics because they can't exist with gratitude at the same time as gratitude. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So commit for this week. We will be grateful. We will challenge whatever comes with gratitude all week long. You want to check in next Monday and we'll see how everybody did with gratitude. Abundance.
Will do.
That expectation of beauty in our lives. It's going to be a really good week. Well, thanks. Thanks everybody for joining. We love our 50/50 girls. Thank you for coming. And we'll talk next Monday. Same time, same bad channel.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Till next time. Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/CMHcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? You gotta watch. What you thinking? What you thinking? You got to watch your thinking. When I'm feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. And if I wake up with a bad attitude, I just fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Whoa, day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? 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 You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.